Ducci, and you are watching Govs Radio. This is where you go if you want to see something or if you want to hear something funny. Coming up in just a couple of minutes. This is a joke I told. What? I'm not on Gov Radio? Call the police. Call my agent. Hi.
Tony, welcome to Go.
Hey, Joe, how are you?
I gotta pat you down though, pal.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Got anything on you? Anything I should know?
I got nothing.
Anything weird going on?
What?
Alright, you go in, Tony. Good.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Tom Kelly of The Tom Kelly Show. Yes, this is not the only time I've gotten on my knees in the back room of a comedy club.
The Knockem Dead Comedy Radio Show is also brought to you by Two Eagles Auto Body. For more than 25 years, Two Eagles Auto Body has been the leader in auto body repairs and customer satisfaction on Long Island. Two Eagles Auto Body handles every type of auto repair from custom applications and restorations to repairs involving insurance claims. Give Two Eagles Auto Body a call and please ask for John Rossi at 516-328-2527. That's 516-328-2527.
Hey, how do you say there, people? It's Johnny Brennan, creator of the Jerky Boys, also of Fox TV's Family Guy fame. I just want to let you know you're listening to Tony on the Knockem Dead Radio Show. You're gonna keep knocking them dead, so keep listening, you wacky sons of bitch. Right there. Over and out there, sweet Charlie.
Long time no see, man. Hey, man, I miss you guys, man, at Knockem Dead Comedy Radio.
Hey Tony, you're not funny, and you probably shit yourself a lot, and you're no fun to be with, and you don't make that much money, and you're not going anywhere in show business, and I hope you get hit by a bus.
Let's give a big shout out to Tony Walker.
Tony Walker, who's a friend of mine.
Tony Walker!
Tony Walker!
Tony Walker, everybody. Stand up, Tony. Where are you? Tony Walker! Thank you so much, mate.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Walker. Our favorite. We love you.
Knockem Dead Comedy Show.
Throughout
my career, I've met a lot of different people. This one right here used to headline Chuckles and Eastside and all these clubs. If you remember Claudia Sherman, Google her, used to come out with a wedding dress and talk about how her wedding went all awry and this and that. She is here, when a comedian comes to see another comedian, that is the biggest honor a comedian can get. I'm honored that you're here tonight.
I love Claudia. Claudia Sherman, back in the day, was a great stand-up comic. We used to do all the clubs around the tri-state area, Long Island, New Jersey, Connecticut, all the clubs. Governors in Levittown. It's going to be a phenomenal night at Governors in Levittown.
Hi, I'm Claudia. I'm with the Down Now.
It's called the Down and Out, and she's doing a show in the Giggle Room. When are you doing that? October 5th.
Governors in Levittown. Go to govs.com for your tickets.
With the Down and Out.
A lot of great comedians, a lot of laughter, good food. Governors in Levittown, get your tickets now. Govs.com.
Throughout my career, I've met a lot of different people. This one right here used to headline Chuckles and Eastside and all these clubs. If you remember Claudia...
Headphones here?
You don't have to put them on. My microphone is attached. It's up to you. I mean, if we get a phone call, that's the way to hear the phone call. But
okay.
Otherwise, we're good. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Knockem Dead Comedy Show on Gov's Comedy Club podcast. We're coming at you from the legendary Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown. On Gov's Comedy Club podcast, the Facebook page, the YouTube channel. Please subscribe to them and follow them and share the link to them and just do all that social media stuff that we're too old to know. But and tell everybody you know about all the great shows here at Governor's Comedy Club podcast. If you'd like to partake in today's show and you want to comment and you want to just join our conversation, please do so on YouTube because that is where we monitor the comments. Just like Jeff Bosey did, John Rusiello just did, Mickey Delaney. Good morning, everybody. If you'd like to comment, do so on the YouTube feed because that is where we monitor the comments. We're live from the legendary Governor's Comedy Club. And speaking of legends, ladies and gentlemen, Jim Moran is here. Jim Moran is here. We were just saying before we went on the air, the last time Jim was here was June 8th, 2018.
Yeah.
That's insane to me, man.
Yeah.
It just flies by. This studio has gone through 2 facelifts since you've been here. I think this room was red.
Yeah.
And we had that big table in the middle.
Totally different setup. Yeah.
And in that corner over there, that's where Joe Roberts fell asleep. I really did. I really thought that guy. I thought he was sick or something that day. He was like melting in the corner, and I felt bad. But he's been in. He came back a few months later with a different band, and he was
with Johnny Mack. It was something. Right?
Oh yeah, probably yeah. Johnny Mack's been in here a few times.
Good guys.
Yeah, absolutely great. Like yourself, great guitar player.
Yeah.
You still playing with Joe and Dave Ice and all that?
I play with Joe once in a while.
Yeah.
You know, we run into, on different jobs and stuff. We're he's got his own little combo. He's doing more of a jazz thing now.
Right. Okay. The Joe Roberts Trio, was that?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's doing a jazz thing. It sounds good. It sounds great.
Those, yeah. Well, that seems to be the thing these days, right? All you guys, like, it's not just one band anymore. Everybody's like whoring themselves out all over the place.
Yeah, because it's just the way the landscape is right now. Like. You do, you wind up, and the fun part about it is like, this weekend I work with like 2 or 3 different bands.
Nice.
And you just maintain good friendships with people that way.
Right.
It's like almost like the way like jazz guys were back in the day.
True.
They would, branch off. John Coltrane would be playing with this bass player today or this drummer tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
And it's just guys playing music together. And
I would imagine that kind of. Like, you have the Jim Moran band, so when you're playing with other bands, I would think it keeps, like, your main gig, it keeps that fresh because you kind of get away from each other for a while, stretch out, maybe even appreciate, those guys more, and you go back and, all the bands.
And, it's all about the spirit of playing. It's all about playing and, like, getting as much time playing to keep yourself busy as a musician.
Sure.
And to keep yourself just keeping yourself expressing yourself,
Right.
and like the way any artist would want to express themselves. So it's like what's cool about it is when you play with different people, you express yourself differently. So you
Right.
tap into different things into what you already know.
Sure.
And
Are you a Genesis fan by any chance?
oh yeah, I like Genesis back in the day.
Because those guys, I always felt they kind of set like the blueprint. Because, I mean, Peter Gabriel left, but before Genesis, the thing was you either had a band or the band broke up. That like there was no in between.
right, right.
Where Genesis, they were all doing other things. Like Phil Collins played in a jazz band called Brand X. He did that through the 70s, and then of course in the 80s, Phil Collins played with everybody to the point where we all got sick of him. But those guys branched out into different things. I mean, can you imagine, in 1970, if the Beatles just said, "All right, let's go do other things, and I'll see you in a year."
Yeah,
like
yep.
they. I mean, obviously Lennon and Harrison are dead, but they might have kept going until Lennon died, or they could have kept going for years if they had if that mentality was around back then.
Well, and the other thing is too, I think with the Beatles, I think basically as a whole unit, they kind of just hit a creative wall, like you said.
Well, yeah.
So like if they
forced
took,
together for
let's
years.
say they took 3 years off,
Right.
4 years off, and says, okay, now we're fresh and we can come back and and do this again and
Right.
come out with.
But that's what I
something.
mean.
Yeah.
Back then, that wasn't the way anybody thought. It was just we're either together or we're not.
That was always the smart thing about the Grateful Dead. They were always like
Sure.
Jerry Garcia would go out and do the Jerry Garcia band,
Right.
Just to tap into something like we were talking about, tapping into something different.
It's always good to tap something different.
Yeah.
Especially in the rock and roll lifestyle.
No comment.
Well, speaking of tap, it looks like you had a good time in Aruba.
Yeah, great time in Aruba.
Yeah, you said, what was that, about a month ago you went there?
Yeah, we went down there for I don't know, about 6 days or something. Like that.
Nice.
Yeah, it was great.
Very nice.
Yeah.
You and your lovely fiance, right?
Yeah.
Very
yeah,
nice.
Yeah.
Ann Rothney says, good morning, everyone. Hello, Tony and John. Oh, John Rusiello. Good morning, John Rusiello. Good morning, Jeff Posey. Good to see everybody. We're hanging out with Jim Moran, ladies and gentlemen, of the Jim Moran Band. That is still the main thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we've been doing now. Mostly the Jim Moran Band has been like the house band at the Station Pub on Sunday.
Right, right.
So you can catch us every Sunday at the Station Pub in Sayville.
Right. And you also do open mic there, too, right?
That's what we do, yeah.
Right.
We go on, we play about, I don't know, a little bit about like half a set or something like that.
Oh,
And
okay.
then we get people up and then it's an interesting, once we open the door, you never know who shows up and who
Sure.
comes in, and that's, it kind of determines the balance of the gig,
In my research, because I'm a professional, I noticed that, like, I saw one video or was it photo? I think it was video where, like, looked like a 13-year-old kid was jamming with you guys, playing the guitar. Yeah. So you must get all sorts in there.
Yeah, sometimes, like because of social media, on Facebook or whatever, they find out Instagram. A lot of kids now Instagram.
Yeah, right.
And you throw a couple of hashtags in the message, and all of a sudden you got an 11-year-old walking in the door.
That's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, it's great, and their parents are great, and the kids there, and the parents are good people, so like they bring these kids down sometimes, and
It's a tough though, because whether it's a kid, actually, if it's anybody that sucks. So you you guys are jamming, you're like, we're hoping they get off the stage, you can continue a good jam. No.
No, well, you know what we try to do? We try to make it like fun for everybody that comes down. That's basically the thing, and the challenge for us is like, okay, you get somebody, maybe might not be as good as this guy or that guy,
right?
But you try to. The challenge is for me to put them over. Right?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
to put them over and say like, okay, this person is sounding tremendous and people like them, and especially at our Station Pub gig. We have a great audience. The people that come there are really supportive. They love music.
Nice.
They listen, and they, sometimes you get people that are honest and they tell you what's on their mind, and
Right,
sometimes, people just roll along with it. And
That's a good
sometimes
answer.
they like it even when we make mistakes. You know, like
Right.
if we blow something in a song, they're all laughing, and you know, it's like, you know, after a while, it's like, you know.
But when you make a mistake, that's when you just do it again. That way, people think it was all on
You
purpose.
do it on
right?
purpose, right? You do it twice.
Right, exactly. Now, and speaking of open mics, you also do the Monday Night Jam. Do they call it the Richie Cannata Jam? Is that what it's called?
That's the official name of that. The
Yep.
Richie Cannata Monday Night Jam.
Right. For those of you who aren't familiar, though you probably are, Richie Cannata, tremendous sax player and played on like 90% of Billy Joel's hits. Great sax player. Also played with the Beach Boys and Tommy Shaw. Just a great guy all around. I had the pleasure of he brought me into that studio once. And the story I always tell, first of all, it's just a beautiful place.
Yes.
And it's so cool to walk around, check it all out. But my favorite part was walking into one of the rooms. There's a big grand piano, and I just walked over to look at it. I'm not a musician, but I appreciate all that stuff. So I'm just looking at it, and he turns to me and says, "That piano that you look at," and he goes, "Ray Charles sat at that piano and played." Son of a bitch,
That's
man.
that black Yamaha piano.
Yeah. Well, when you said black, and I'm talking about Ray Charles, I thought you were going somewhere else. I got nervous.
No.
But, yeah, a great guy. Richie Cannata has been facing some health issues, so we wish him all the best and hope he's back out there soon. But, yeah, you've been keeping that Monday Night Jam going. And how long has that been going on?
Well, that jam started, that goes back to about 30-plus years ago.
Holy shit.
That started at the China Club.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know
And
that.
then it wound up going to this place called the Dark Side, which was it was on 72nd Street, the Dark Star Lounge. That's what it was called.
Okay. Not familiar
That's
with that
when
at
I
all.
had started coming around. And Richie was running it with Bobby Nathan. And Richie was doing a lot of flyouts in and out. He was working with the Beach Boys at that time.
Yeah.
I had gotten friendly with Richie because we had just been on stage a lot together. And he
Just
was
from his jam?
Yeah.
So you didn't know him at all?
I met him in the city. I met him at the Dark Star Lounge.
Wow.
Yeah, many years ago. And also, I was also friendly with Stevie Cochran. So
Okay.
we used to go in together.
Yeah.
And go and hang out. And he was friends with Richie, and he introduced me to Richie. And before you know, we're on stage together playing.
Nice.
And there was a great time. I mean, we used to like jam with. You never know who walked in there. One time we're sitting there, and Ace Frehley walked in.
Nice.
And so it was a. You never know. Like Joe Bonamassa would show up. And
holy crap.
Yeah. So one time, Stanley Jordan, any of these like really,
Nice.
and it's like all guys from different genres.
Yeah. Which is kind of what Richie does
That's
too with
what
the sax playing. He does
and that's
everything.
what it's kind of. And now because, the times change and the younger people start getting into it. So now we have like a real good, strong following of younger people that come down and sit in with the jam. And this is all started by Richie and Julio Fernandez and all these great guys. And now, and our band now, where we're at right now, we have a great band. I got Tommy Bose from Tower of Power.
Oh, okay.
And Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
Yeah.
He came in and started working with us when Richie had gotten sick back in 2014.
Right.
So we had pulled Tommy in just to have another hand to help out because, it's a lot when you got, 30 or 40 people on a list and you got to go through it and you got each one of them singing a different song and you're sitting there with your phone going, where's that chart?
Right, absolutely. Plus, and it's a long night too. You guys go
we'll
quite a
start
while.
like 10 o'clock and then we're done but like 2, sometimes 2:30 in the morning. We're walking out on a Monday night.
Right.
So.
And it used to be later than that, but I get right.
When we were back at the cutting room, it would be like they'd have like Leon Russell playing before us, and then here's the jam. We'd be starting it like we used to call it the Tuesday morning jam,
right?
Because we'd be starting after 12 a.m.
Wow, and at Station Pub though that's not late like that, right? That's
that's actually Sunday afternoon, 3 o'clock.
Oh, it's afternoon. Oh,
yeah, it's
really
designed for the working man.
Yeah, right. Good answer. Wow.
Yeah.
Do you get What's it like when a Joe Bonamassa walks in? Do you get intimidated, or are you like, oh, I'll show this fucker?
You know what? A lot of these guys are really just nice guys. When they come in and sit in, they're just normal. And that's, there's no like, hey, I mean, we all know, Joe Bonamassa walks in, oh, that's Joe Bonamassa.
Yeah.
This is good. And my eyes, I'm like, this is going to be fun. We're going to have this guy's going to come in and play with us. And we've had guys like Carmine Appice come on stage and sit in with us. And,
that's wild.
John Stamos.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Has sat in with us.
Yeah. Well, he plays a lot with the Beach Boys, too.
One time we had Bob Saget, John Stamos.
Oh, really?
Jeffrey Ross, the roast master, he was down there.
Wow.
And,
do those what did they get up and sing, or did they play instruments?
Well,
or
we
they
had
just
Jeffrey Ross came up and did a few jokes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And he's roasting everybody.
Yeah.
And
that's one of the things I think it was off the air. I was mentioning to you that Jackie the Joke Man was in here just yesterday. He has a great story where he used to go to the Iridium to see Les Paul.
Mm-hmm.
He said he was in the audience one night. He goes, all of a sudden Les Paul gets on the mic. He says, hey, someone told me Jackie the Joke Man's here. They never even met. And Jackie was like, holy shit, this guy knows who I am. And he made him come up and tell jokes, and then that became a regular thing. Every time Jackie was there, Les Paul would throw him up and would keep him up. Like Jackie would go to sit and, no, give me more. He's got this great picture in his house from a night at the Iridium on stage of him, Les Paul, and Keith Richards.
Yeah.
I mean, his house is like a museum, but I love stuff like that. Like the whole variety of stuff, maybe see somebody doing some jazz and then then some blues with Joe Bonamassa, and then Bob Saget tells some jokes. Like I could do that every night. I love that kind of
it's a variety. And that's what basically what the jams are. Like if you look at the big picture, you got this guy who does blues, that guy does R&B.
Right.
So you got like almost like an old time kind of like the way vaudeville used to be in a way.
Sure.
Like in a different context, of course, in a more modern context. But that's basically what vaudeville was back in the day.
Right.
So like we're just still keeping that spirit of entertainment.
Right. And like you said, it's just, it's fun when these guys show up and all. And that's really the spirit of it, because I know like a place like the Bitter End, it's a legendary place, but it's not a big place. So you really, I mean, I'm not asking for numbers. I'm not even asking for details, but it's safe to assume that you're not really making money. So it's really just a love. I mean, I'm sure, of course, the money always helps and you like it, but it's, even if at the most you're not making career money, I'm going to assume. So to do something like that, it's mainly for the fun, and you just have a good time and you meet some cool people and get to play.
Well, I mean, you don't think about like when you first see the Beatles on television, you're not thinking about like, oh, what am I going to get paid if I start doing this?
Exactly.
You're thinking more about like
the girls.
How do I get into this? Right. Yeah, like how do I get, and how do
That's been my motivation more than money.
Right. How do I get into this? Like
literally, right.
Yeah. And you're not thinking about like, hey, can I make a career out of this?
Right.
Or, because in one ear, in one eye, you got you're focusing on your dream, and then in the other ear, of course, your parents, they love you, and they want to say, hey, maybe you should think about college.
Right.
Maybe you should be, if you like music, maybe you should be a music teacher,
right.
or
and that's what. So you basically lived the dream, because between bands, teaching. I mean, you're a working musician, right?
Yeah.
You don't have a day job, right?
Well, I do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, for some reason I thought music was the whole thing.
No, I have a day job.
Oh,
yeah.
Are we allowed to ask what that is, or we don't have
sure,
to? Oh,
you can ask me.
What's your day job?
Well, I'm a custodian over at the West Isle Public Library. I've been there for 24 years.
No shit.
Yeah.
I used to perform plays in that. So you walk in, right to the left is the room, like the.
Well, we redid the place since you probably.
Oh, okay, yeah.
When we were in the 90s or the 2000s?
Right around late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah,
we've redone the place. Now we have a big, huge community room.
Oh, nice.
The library's changed too. That's not like what it used to be.
I know they all have these nice auditoriums now.
Yeah, they got nice auditoriums. They got computers. I mean, it's become more of a community center.
Right.
Programs. I mean, and it's great. And I also see a lot of musicians come into my library.
Sure.
We see a lot of these bands. We just had this other band, Just 60s.
Okay.
We've had them.
Oh, yeah. I've seen them. Yeah.
Yeah, and
They get the Jim Moran band in there?
Yeah, I've
Oh,
played
okay.
there. Yeah,
Lucky
so
for them.
Yeah, so I've had this double thing of like working at the library. And,
Right. Well, that's the thing. All right.
Yeah.
So you have the library, but still musically, like again, I still think you're living the dream because you've done quite a bit musically.
Yeah,
So
I've done some things.
Yeah,
you know, like
absolutely.
and it's given me the opportunity to really make some great friends. That's
Right.
the main thing.
Absolutely,
You know, like
right.
beyond playing great music together, you really get some good relationships with people.
Right. And I talk about that all the time in here, even the comedy world, music world, whatever
Yeah.
world. Building the relationships, the good times you're having while performing, and what comes out of it. I mean, you can't put a price tag on that.
Yeah.
That's it. Really, just makes a happier life.
Right.
It's that simple.
And then it's like, you know, like certain guys I work with. I work with this. I work with a drummer, Ed the Hat. Ed D'Alessio is his real name.
Okay.
And we've been together working since 1997. You know?
Wow.
So like, you go and you're like, oh my God, like 30 years is going by.
Right.
You know.
Yep.
And this is the time marches on, but these friends, you stay friends with these people forever. And it's like all of a sudden I've had people come out of the woodwork I haven't seen in 25 years, 30, almost 30 years. And then all of a sudden you're on stage with them and you're playing like maybe you might have played with them steadily 25, 30 years ago. And then all of a sudden, because the music just is so powerful.
Yep.
And that's what the music is what brings us all together.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
You ever get anybody at the Monday Night Jam, like you said, Joe Bonamassa and John Stamos, but you ever get somebody walk in that you had no idea who it was?
Yeah, a couple of times.
Yeah, and somebody's got to be like, Jim, don't you know who that is?
Yeah, it was a good story. You know, Gavin DeGraw.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
singer-songwriter.
I don't know if
I didn't know
recognize
him from
too.
Adam, and
Right.
they're like, hey, somebody needs a guitar. Can you lend it out? And I was just joking around, and I'm like, hey, can he leave a deposit? And, like I'm just joking, being trying to be funny in my own way. And they're laughing. They're like looking at each other like, yeah, sure. What do you want? And they're ready to whip out. I'm like, no, I'm only kidding,
Yeah.
But then I find out that this guy is somebody in
Did
the
you know the
business.
name, or you didn't even know the name?
No, I didn't know the name. I
Oh,
didn't
wow.
know who he was.
Yeah.
And it's just like one of those weird guys that Richie knew from from the Jam or something.
Yeah.
And that's how you meet these people. And then good guy, and he played my guitar, and there's a picture on social media somewhere of him playing my guitar. So,
Nice.
And we've had John Mayers come down.
Right. Yeah, I think for some reason I knew that. I don't know why, but yeah.
And Julio Fernandez from Spyro Gyra, he's come down and sit with us. And we have some other guys, like we have Mark Bonda, he's on keyboards
Right.
with us.
Yeah, I think he's actually coming in. Might be next week. He might be coming in.
Yeah,
I
he's
think
with
so.
Wondrous Stories, and he also
Yeah.
works
with a lot of bands.
Yeah, he's got the FM Steely Dan tribute band, him and Tommy, and they also do Sir Duke, the Stevie Wonder
Yeah,
thing.
right.
So everybody out there, especially with our Monday night band, it's kind of a cool mixture of guys, guys from Long Island and guys from Jersey.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right in the
And,
middle there.
Yeah, everybody kind of just meets in downtown. And
Nice.
So it gives me a good opportunity to hang out with some people from Jersey. And,
Sure. That's cool. And you mentioned Mayer. I mean, that guy.
Oh, he's a monster.
He's a beast on that guitar.
Even when
man.
he was when he came in and sat up, and this is like 2004, so he was
still kind of breaking in.
That was 20 years ago. So what is he, like 40s?
Yeah, early 40s,
Yeah,
I think. Yeah,
maybe he was like 22 when he sat in with us, and he was still like playing great, really playing great stuff.
Yep.
Yeah,
you're probably blown away, right?
Yeah. You got, and you're like, hey, what is he doing there? Like, hey, I want to grab that. you
Yeah,
know?
sure. You're like, that's the guy that sings Daughters? What the fuck? Your Body is a Wonderland? He's playing like that?
It's a candy store, like that's
Yeah,
the main
right.
thing. So like when musicians come in and they want to sit in and everything like that, and then you're like, wow, this guy's got a cool thing going on.
Yeah.
Even if he's only got one thing that's cool.
That's all right.
That's all right. Hey,
Yeah.
that's great. And
Right.
the audience likes it.
Hey, it worked for B.B. King, right?
Yeah.
The guy couldn't play chords to save his life.
Right.
He just played notes. God bless him. Can we? All right, so it's 11:30. Can we get a tune?
Yeah, sure.
Do you? Now, I mean, I've heard you play. You're a beast yourself, but do you? And you can play anything you want, but just out of curiosity, do you have originals? Do you?
Yeah,
you do.
I have. I made a blues album back in like 1998. It was
okay. Because I thought so, and I tried to find it, but I couldn't find it anywhere.
Yeah, because this is before like any with the internet. And all
right
that
before
stuff.
iTunes and all. Yeah.
Yeah, we were selling CDs at the gig and stuff like that.
Yeah, true.
And
Good idea.
I should have brought something with me, but
so you brought your guitar. That's good enough.
My guitar.
But yeah, you can play anything. I was just curious about the originals, but you feel like playing an original, a cover, whatever you feel like doing.
Okay. Well, I'll do. Let's see what we got here. Let's see if I'm in tune. I'll grab a guitar pick.
We're hanging out with Jim Moran of the Jim Moran Band.
Maybe we'll get warmed up with something first before I do an original here.
All right. Yeah, whatever you want.
We'll do something simple. Do a little Jimi Hendrix.
Nice.
There we go. All right, you ready?
Cool.
Okay. There must be some kind of way out of here, said the joker to the thief. There's too much confusion, I can't get no relief. Businessman, they drink my wine, plow and dig my earth. Normal level on the line, nobody offered his words. Hey, hey, yeah. No reason to get excited. The thief he kindly spoke. There are many here among us who feel that life is but a joke. But you and I, we've been through that, and this is not our tale. So let's not talk falsely now. The hour's getting late. Hey, hey, yeah.
Very nice. All Along the Watchtower, written by Bob Dylan.
Yeah, Bob Dylan.
Very nice. Is it? What's it like singing rock music at 11:30 in the morning?
Good thing I had coffee. That's
So I'm reading the comments. John Rusiello says he saw Steve French at the Dark Star Lounge in 1987. Who the hell is Steve French?
I have
no idea. But he knew the Dark Star Lounge.
Yeah.
Andrew Fremder, does Stevie Wonder know what a piano looks like? And Rafni, John Rusiello, they loved your singing and your playing just now. Yeah, if you like that, then go to YouTube and Facebook and all that stuff and check out Jim Moran. He's, my opinion, one of the best out there, ladies and gentlemen, one of the best. You're a beast on the guitar, but what are there songs that are like when somebody asks you to play, it's like really hard for you to do? Are there certain things you just like have a hard time doing?
More like memorize, like when somebody like calls out something like something modern, somebody will say, "Hey, do you do this by such and such?" And you're like, "Okay, what is that?"
Right.
And then you're on stage, you grab your phone, and thank God we have these things.
Yeah.
Because they save lives.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would. Yeah. Do you have to do do you feel like a responsibility to keep up with current stuff because people
of
are
course,
requesting that?
Well, it forces you to.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden you're pulling out your phone and you got YouTube on. You got to go through a commercial first, usually.
Yeah. Right. Yes.
And then you're like, okay, all right, okay, I can hear where this is going.
Okay.
Because at first you're like,
Right.
what is this?
Yeah.
So like you got 4 guys on stage, then we're having like a huddle, and it's like, and then Tommy's like cracking jokes and saying, "This is how we make the music good,"
Right.
or whatever, you know. And
So we'll be getting a Taylor Swift medley out of you next.
yeah, oh sure.
What are there songs like I always think like some of the bigger bands like Billy Joel or like I don't care what the man says, and if he was sitting here I'd love to talk to him and challenge him because I don't care what he says, he's got to be sick of Piano Man. He's got to be, right? McCartney's got to be sick of Let It Be or Hey Jude. Got to be. But so are there songs you're like, you're doing the jam and somebody comes up like, I want to play Freebird. And you're like, fuck that song again? Like, you have songs like that?
Yeah, like especially when you play regular gigs, like you get people. Like we used to do this one gig at Bob Buckman's Radio Grill.
Yeah, sure.
This is like, I don't know, about in the 2000s. And we used to have this one lady, she used to come up, and she was nice person, but she always wanted to hear Mustang Sally.
Oh.
Right. So it was just like, Mustang Sally,
Right.
Mustang Sally, Mustang Sally. I'm like, I was thinking about just like doing like a whole gig of Mustang Sally, and just like different versions of a Mustang Sally. Do it as a bossa nova, as a slow blues, but I said to her, I said, "You're the type of person that would go to you'd go to see like the Philharmonic, or you go to a classical music, something in like Lincoln Center, and you'd be the one tugging at the conductor's tails, going, 'You guys know Mustang Sally?'"
Was her name Sally? Shit! Wow. Yes. You guys.
Her name wasn't even Sally.
It must have drove you guys crazy. Like you're on stage. And you see her coming, you're like, "Fuck! All right, Mustang Sally." Guys.
Yeah, exactly. That's how you identify them as, by the songs that they request.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Just like if you're a bartender, this guy's
true
Scotch and soda, or
right.
Single
Exactly.
malt, or whatever you want. Right.
John Rusciello, wow, you young whippersnappers, look up Steve French. All right, I'll look him up after the show because I don't want to put the audience to sleep, you son of a bitch. Steve French. I have no idea who that is. I never heard of him.
It sounds familiar. But
Yeah?
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
I know JJ French from Twisted Sister. Yeah,
right,
right.
yeah.
That's my era. Let's see. What do we got here? So, you know what I wanted to ask you about? So we mentioned that you are a guitar teacher, right?
Yeah.
So we were. So with Jackie, I say Jackie, is a musician himself. And we also had another comedian, Jackie's comedian partner, Peter Bales. And Peter Bales is a big Beatles guy.
Right.
So we were talking about a few weeks ago, Paul McCartney showed up at Stephen Talkhouse out east in Amagansett. Jackie and Peter are so old, they kept calling it Stephen's Talkhouse. And I didn't have the heart to correct them. I just sat here and let them, they kept repeating it. But it's Stephen Talkhouse in Amagansett. But now, so about 2 or 3 weeks ago, Paul McCartney showed up there. There was some kind of private gig, and McCartney showed up, and he was jamming with the band. But you have, like, a personal connection to this.
Yes. First, the guy playing bass has been a friend of mine for over 30 years. Ivan Bodley. On Facebook, he's known as Ivan Funkboy Bodley.
Yeah.
And he's an accomplished bass player. He's played with just about everybody, the who's who of... And great bass player, great guy, good friend.
Yeah.
And he sits in with us on Monday night as well.
Cool.
And he subs. Our regular bass player is a guy named Tony Tino.
Okay.
But he fills in with us as well, and he's great bass player. And also the leader of the gig, I guess, Andrew Watt, when he started out when he was starting out in New York back in 2004.
Yeah.
Was coming around to our jam when we were at the Cutting Room before we got to the bitter end.
Right.
So I've known him since he was like 18 and going to college, and he was going to Clive Davis Music School, and he didn't really study music theory. He was a self-taught guitarist, so he came to me and he wanted a couple of lessons. So I taught him a couple of lessons. I helped him clear up some theory stuff that he was having problems with.
Wow.
And that kid is now like doing some amazing stuff.
Yes. Does he do some orchestral stuff? Or am I thinking of the wrong guy?
Well, he produced the Rolling Stones, actually, Andrew Watt. If you look him up, yeah.
Okay, yeah, like in the 90s, maybe?
No, like recently.
Recently?
Like that last album that they just did.
Oh, the Hockney Diamonds?
Yeah.
That's a great.
Yeah.
I think it's one of their best albums.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe how good it was.
That kid, Andrew Watt, he was playing with Eddie Vedder there. He did a concert with Eddie Vedder at the Beacon.
Okay.
He also, he's just an amazing networker. Just the person that really, I admire his tenacity. You know?
Sure.
Like he's out there doing it. You know.
But you actually helped him out a little bit along the way.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it feels good to be part of something like that.
Yeah, that must be a great feeling. Yeah,
as a
like a
teacher.
proud uncle watching.
Yeah, well, as a teacher, that's like a great accomplishment.
True. I mean, I guess that's the goal as a teacher, right?
Right.
To see that.
But it's also great because you're not saying like to yourself, you're not like, oh, well, I showed him this and I showed. It's not. It's like, no, this kid worked hard,
right?
And he put the hours in, he put the time in,
yeah,
and he's really doing it. You know?
Well, there is a part in that video where you see him whispering in McCartney's ear, and if you turn the sound up, he says, "This is all because of Jim Moran." And Paul goes, "Oh yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah,
me too."
Yeah, right. Who's this bloke, Jim Moran?
But yeah, no. In all seriousness, no. That is really cool to see a guy that you kind of helped along the way. That he's doing something like that. That's very cool. Yeah, that was. I saw you post that. I was like, oh, that's cool right there. Yeah. But you would think that bastard would have invited you so you could meet McCartney. But now your own education, which I wasn't aware of, Five Towns?
Yeah, I went to Five Towns College. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
A lot of good names came through there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went there when they were still in, they were in Seaford when I went there.
Mm-hmm.
And great school.
Yeah.
Great music department. And just a great all-around vibe that place was.
Yep.
And I went there for a year. It was tough for my parents, you know. It was hard times, you know. So like,
I hear you.
We can only muster up a year of college, and then basically I had to go to work.
My son went to Five Towns, and and I'm still paying for it. Goodness, it was
bill, right?
It was. It's a big bill.
Yeah.
Let's see. I know someone that met a few of the Beatles. They said McCartney is a real Ringo. All right. I don't know why I bother reading your comments there, pal. Five Towns is a great place, and also Brentwood, and our own Don Sill. I don't know if you recognize this. He's a little younger, but he's also a Brentwood guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
yeah,
I have no. That's all I wanted to say about Brentwood. I don't know. I just saw that and I brought
Brentwood
that.
High School. Yeah, I went there. Yeah.
Can you name every band you've been in?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's a tough one, right?
I'm gonna need a day or two.
All right, how many bands are you currently in?
Right now, I'm working with. Let's see. I'm working with a band called Nick and the Kick.
Right.
I'm working with the Monday Night Band.
Right.
I'm working with the Sunday Band. Sunday afternoon band.
Are you still working with Danny Keene or no?
Yeah, I still do some gigs with him. I'm actually doing a private party with him coming up.
Oh, nice.
We're doing a gig at Leonard's. Yeah.
He's awesome.
Great.
Love Danny.
Yeah, I work with him. I don't know, probably right now, currently, about 4 or 5 different bands I've been working with, I guess. You know, just like...
That seems crazy.
And then I get calls... You know, friends of mine get sick or whatever, and I got the night off, and then my girlfriend's screaming, "You don't have the night off." I tell her, "Hey, I'm off this Friday." She goes, "Who are you kidding? The phone hasn't rang yet." You know?
Right, exactly.
You know?
And she's like your calendar, right? Because you're probably saying yes to everything, and she's like, "No, we're going out to dinner that night, fucker."
Yes, he's my voice of reason.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And guitar's not your only thing, right? You play other instruments?
Yeah, I play bass.
Mm-hmm.
I play drums a little bit. I had to play some keyboards in college, so I have a working knowledge of the keyboards. I mean, I'm not an amazing, I can't get on there and spit out like 20 Billy Joel songs.
Right. There's 100 people on Long Island doing that already, so you don't have to. Does that make you nuts? Like as a guitar player, like, no, I don't want to play Billy Joel. I want to play Stevie Ray.
Yeah, but it's cool too. I like Billy Joel because it's challenging to play some of his stuff on guitar.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, like there's a couple of songs like I remember, like around COVID, Richie and I we were gonna do a cocktail hour together, and we were gonna do a wedding over in like Italy.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and Lake Como. We were supposed to do a wedding, and so I was starting to get together Summer Highland Falls.
Oh sure.
So he was going to play the melody. And This is just, we were going to do this at the cocktail hour.
Yeah.
And he was going to do the melody, and I would just do the accompaniment. And what a challenge it is to like actually like get his feel down and play the way he plays. I mean,
right.
Beyond Billy being such a great songwriter, he's a great musician. Like,
Right.
I mean, beyond like above all of that, and all of those guys, Richie, Doug, Liberty.
Oh yeah.
And I've worked with Liberty on, different things outside of, like, I've done different gigs. Like I also play with this other band called the Pirate Throng, and it's a cool band. It's but we do gigs and we back up former Governor David Patterson.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Is he a musician?
He plays a little bit.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
he's
didn't
just
know
like
that.
during COVID, the guy decided to start playing and
Wow.
started practicing. And another friend of mine who's a book guy, they wound up, they're very good friends, and he's also a musician. This guy Simon, great piano player.
Yeah.
And we've done some gigs.
Well, Richie's the musical director for Bernie Williams.
Yeah.
Have you ever worked with Bernie?
No, I didn't. I've Bernie's borrowed my guitar a couple of times.
Oh,
at
yeah?
the jam. Yeah,
He's very good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great guy. Nice man.
Although the Yankees can really use him right now. But
bring Bernie back.
Really, can't be any worse. Those Yankees are they're playing like my Mets. They've kind of switched.
They need Chris Chambliss and the 78
Craig Nettles.
guy.
Yeah. But my Mets are kicking ass, man. I'm all excited. I'm having a good year.
Yeah, the Mets are. They were getting close to the playoffs.
They're half game out.
Wow.
And I think they're going to get there. I'm trying. I not actually. Well, the Mets won last night, but I don't know. I don't know where that puts them in the standings. But
I was a Met fan when I was a kid, and then I started off as a Met fan.
Yeah.
Because I guess because your father, he's like, okay, let's see, Shea Stadium, Yankee Stadium.
Yep.
There's a toll to go to Yankee Stadium. So why don't you become a Met fan?
Right. It's true.
And then, I was a Met fan up until like the first thing that really got me to not be a Met fan was when they traded Rusty Staub.
Oh, wow.
For Mickey Lolich, who was like probably about 41 years old or whatever he was at the time.
Yeah.
And he was a great pitcher when he was with the Detroit
Tigers.
Tigers.
Yeah. But that's the Mets. They always bring people in when they're past their prime.
Or before they become like Tug
superstar.
McGraw and
Right.
Nolan Ryan before he. When Nolan Ryan was on the Mets, he couldn't even hardly get the ball over the plate.
Right.
He was like throwing wild balls all over the place. He couldn't. He didn't get it together until he really went on the.
That's correct.
California Angels. So
Right.
I'm sure the Mets regretted it, but at the time you could see okay, this kid is not ready for.
But it's still the Mets to this day. There's still plenty of guys that just they couldn't figure out, so they sent him on his way, and then he flourishes.
Like, Tug McGraw, right?
Right.
He wound up flourishing with the Phillies, right?
Yep.
And Nolan Ryan with the Angels. And then the biggest blow was, of course, number 41, Tom Seaver. When they decided to get rid of Tom Seaver, I was like devastated, Then I was like, I was a Yankee fan, like from then on, I was like, okay.
What they got? Steve Henderson and Pat Zachary, I think, in that trade.
Lee Mazzilli, right? The 77 Mets, right?
But then, awful. But then does it help you in the mid '80s when they bring Rusty back and Lee Mazzilli comes back in '86?
I started getting the Mets mojo again in '86. 'cause it's like, what am I gonna? I'm a Yankee fan, and I'm not going to root for Boston, obviously. You know?
True.
But I had friends of mine that were Yankee fans that were actually rooting for Boston, and I was
wow, they hate the Mets that much, huh?
Yeah.
And funny enough, a lot of people don't even realize Boston in '86. Tom Seaver was on that team.
Yeah.
He was on that team in '86.
Was he starting still, or was he relieving?
Well, I think he was still starting, if I'm not mistaken. But he was on the downslope.
Right.
He didn't even make the postseason roster.
Right.
He was still in uniform and in the dugout, but he wasn't even on the roster, so he didn't play. Which I think that's why a lot of people don't even realize that he was on the team. But let's see. All right, we got a few more minutes, right? You got about 10 minutes, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Definitely want to get another song. Guilty pleasures. Any songs or bands that people would be shocked if they heard that you like it?
Oh, yeah, bands that like bands you would never admit when you were a kid.
Yeah,
to like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
like let's say John Denver or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, or Bread, or but
Yeah.
then you listen nowadays and you're going like, wow, what great, As as a kid, you don't understand because they're talking about things that you can only experience and understand when you're an adult.
Yes.
So
agreed. Yeah.
You listen to John Denver when you're 13, you're like, hey, Annie's song, I don't get it. When you're 35 and you listen to Annie's song, you say, oh, I get it now.
Right.
So that's a guilty pleasure. Yeah, that like I like a lot of jazz. Like I like a lot of like old bebop from the 50s.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That would be like a guilty pleasure. I like listening to like a lot of jazz guitar players like Joel Pass and Kenny Burrell.
Okay, Kenny Burrell, I know,
And,
yeah.
Like Steely Dan is always a guilty pleasure music. And
Yeah, but I wouldn't call that a guilty pleasure. It doesn't get any cooler than that, man.
Yeah, but
Asia, one of the best songs ever, in my opinion.
the whole album. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but just that song. If you don't like that song, there's something wrong with you.
I mean, you could go through their whole catalog and you're like, it's amazing that you can say that there is not like one song that you can say in that catalog that's bad.
Right.
It's
Absolutely
all
right.
great. I mean, every song is like you could put on the Royal Scam, Katie Lied, any of those albums, and you can
Even the later ones, when they reunited.
like Everything Must Go,
Right.
And
now I'm drawing a blank
Two
on the
by
name of the
Nature.
albums. Two by Nature. I think that was the first, or maybe
that
Everything
was
Must
the
Go was the
comeback
first
album,
right?
in like
Okay.
2000,
Right.
And I've been a big Steely Dan fan. For many years.
Denny Diaz comes from Hicksville.
Yeah.
My town. Denny Diaz, Billy Joel, Lorraine Bracco, and Frank Walker. So a few years ago, Denny Diaz's wife, he's been out in California for years. I don't even know how I found this, but she posted something, a photo from Porcaro, the drummer from Toto. Jeff Porcaro, thank you. There was a tribute concert to him right after he died, so we're talking early 90s. And George Harrison showed up, and Eddie Van Halen, and Don Henley, and all these, of course, Toto, and they had this big concert. And when it came out, after the concert, I managed to get my hands on a bootleg of the show, and it was soundboard, perfect quality.
Right.
She posts a photo from that concert, and she her post is, I'd love to, if anybody has a recording from this show, I'd love to hear it. It was such a special night. Yeah. So I contacted her, said, I don't have a cheap, bad, phone recording. I said, I got a soundboard. So I sent her a copy, and we've been friends ever since. She was thrilled.
Wow.
She had no idea that even existed. Wow. So, because her husband played that too. So she sent me an autographed photo of her husband as a thank you, which I thought was kind of cool.
Talk about guitar players. Denny Diaz, he was a great guitar player. Yeah. I mean, that solo he did on Do It Again, and there was that solo he did on Bodhisattva.
Oh, sure.
And all of that stuff on Asia.
Right.
That's all Denny Diaz, yeah.
Yep.
And
Unbelievable.
He was like the unsung hero, that guy. He was, there was also, I remember reading a book about Steely Dan, and I forgot the name of the book, but it was a good book, and they were talking about how he created all the EQ points in the early days.
Oh.
Like him and Roger Nichols, who was their engineer.
Right.
Created all those EQ points of
Really?
like how they got their sound, like on their recordings and stuff.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah. Interesting, yeah.
Now you got me thinking. I'm going to have to hit her up and get Denny in here on Zoom, or if they, I don't know if they ever come back this way.
You should definitely interview him.
That would be wild.
Definitely. I mean, and you think about it, he was always the, you had Becker and Fagan, and Gary Katz was the producer.
Right.
So he was always kind of like almost a technical guy.
Right.
In the room.
And they all went on, like Steely Dan was just Becker and Fagan, so they went on, get all the credit. But then you had Skunk Baxter, who went on to the Doobie Brothers and, got his own. Like, everybody seemed to graduate to other things, and he kind of got left behind, even though he played so many great things.
How interesting of a guy is Skunk Baxter? I mean, like, to have a career in starting out with, working in bar bands and just being a journeyman.
Right.
Living in Jersey or living in New York, and the guy was fixing guitars.
Right.
And, like he was building guitars, fixing guitars, doing repair work. He was probably I mean, the guy is so smart. I mean, he could probably do anything with his hands if he puts his mind to it.
Right.
And then having a whole illustrious career, like you said, with the Doobie Brothers, and then getting out and working for the military.
Right. Which is so weird to me. Yeah.
And designing, what was he, designing missiles and bombs?
Is that? I knew he did something with the military, and I know he was recognized by the White House, but I didn't know exactly. Is that what he was doing?
And
really?
they asked him, they said, how did you get all of this knowledge of knowing all this stuff? Because, I used to read all these old gun magazines from, like, when I was a kid, I guess he used to, like, cowboys and
I guess so, right.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Crazy. And then he's got something coming up at the Iridium, I saw. I saw some ad for that.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So I know you have to go at noon, so maybe get another song out of you before we before we say goodbye.
Sure.
And while you're grabbing that guitar, I asked you about songs that are hard to play and stuff. Name either a song or a band. I asked you about guilty pleasures. Name a song or a band that you just don't. That you're like, I don't see what everybody sees in that. Mine is Bon Jovi. I just don't get what anybody sees in that band.
Sometimes with some of the certain, I guess I'm not going to be specific.
Oh, okay,
I don't want to be specific, but some of the, because some of the modern things, I guess, like some of the things that you would hear, like stuff done where you're like, okay, that person has a good voice, maybe.
Right.
If
like AI, you're talking about, like the way
with the AI and all of that stuff.
Right.
To me, when I really listen to people, I think like the best thing to do is go on YouTube and watch them play at a club or watch them play at a venue.
Right.
And then you get to see like, okay, what's really behind the veil.
Right.
Because you can really hide, as you know, with production, with auto-tune and beat detector and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
You can basically manufacture amazing product.
Right.
But you get to really see the real deal of that product when they're not number one singing to a track.
Yep.
And they're just singing. And, you can watch Billy Joel. And Billy Joel is what? In his 70s?
Oh, he's 75, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can watch him. And these guys are, just hitting it like, still hitting it. You might say, okay, well, he might change the key, might lower the key.
I'd rather have that than AI.
Right, that's real.
Right.
That's like,
Right. I mean, I like what the Beatles did. They took old recordings of Lennon where the quality is shit, and they just fixed it to make it listenable.
Right, exactly.
But they didn't make up a song and throw the info into AI, so all of a sudden we have Lennon singing a new song. It's existing stuff that they're just cleaning up. That, I think, is fantastic, because then we can hear all this stuff that we never heard before. But yeah, to make up or to enhance to the point where you don't even know if they're singing. Yeah, that's annoying.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too is like when you listen to like that, what was that song, that new song Now and Then.
Yeah,
it's a great song.
Right, absolutely.
And
right.
you know what? When I heard it, it moved me. I was
Yes.
like, and it's not even just like it's the Beatles. It's just you close your eyes and you're like, wow, what a great melody.
Right.
I'm sure that was like any other song. They were just workshopping. Like Lennon was just basically workshopping that song. It wasn't even really a song.
Right.
It was just a demo. Like he says, okay, I got this idea. He's singing these couple of lyrics and the hook, and then he's like, okay, I'll work on this later.
Right.
Unfortunately, with Lennon, later didn't come.
Yeah, and that's the genius of McCartney, right? That he can take that and turn it into something.
Yeah,
something
McCartney,
great.
and also Ringo. Ringo, you got to give him credit too. I mean, going in there and laying down a great drum part on that, and
you're absolutely right.
And George Martin's son Niles, using the AI technology, because they originally started that in '95, right? That track.
Yes,
and they got it together in last year or whatever, 2023 or 2022, whenever they got it together.
Right.
And they used the AI software that what the police were using and stuff like that. He was talking about.
Yeah.
So the FBI was using all of this stuff for surveillance purposes. So like if they put a microphone in a room, they can isolate that one person.
Right. Exactly.
So they did that with John Lennon, and they took his voice, they isolated, which is like really fascinating.
Which I'm assuming you know of it. That there's recordings of the Beatles before they were famous, when they used to play the clubs and they used to play all these covers. So, and Lennon had said in interviews like that was, in his mind, that was the Beatles,
right?
Because they were raw and they were fun. I would love to see them clean that up and put that out.
Sure.
I mean, they played, just nothing but covers back then, and they were. It was, just really raw and exciting. So I would love to hear that stuff. All right, so it's 12 now. So if you have to go, it's cool. I know we. Okay, all right, no sweat. We were going to get another song, but no problem. Jim Moran, ladies and gentlemen. So quickly before you go, so you do teach and stuff, right? So do you want to plug where they can find you for dates?
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram. I'm on.
Is it easier to find you if they type in Jim Moran Band or?
Well, they could type me in on Facebook as Jim Moran.
Okay.
And you'll see me. I'll show up there. And Jim Moran Band on Instagram.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
There you go. Jim Moran Band, Instagram, Facebook. The camera's right here.
Oh, there it is. I didn't even. I'm looking at you the whole time.
Sorry. Fantastic. So Sunday nights at the Station Pub, or Sunday afternoon Station Pub. Monday nights at the Bitter End. Check out his music. And,
I'll do one blues song.
Yeah, you sure?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
One.
Excellent.
All right. Further on up the road, someone's gonna hurt you like you hurt me. Further on up the road, baby, someone's gonna hurt you like you hurt me. Further on up the road, you'll find out I wasn't lying. You gotta reap just what you sow. Old saying is true. You gotta reap just what you sow, baby. The old saying is true. Just like you hurt someone, someone's bound to hurt you.
You've been laughing, pretty baby. Someday you're gonna be crying. Clapton, is that your favorite version, or?
Oh yeah, Bobby Blue Bland.
Oh right, nice.
He's the original guy.
Yeah. Love that. That was a cool surprise. I love that too.
Yeah.
Jim Moran, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
He's got to go off to work. I hate that work shit. That sucks. Because I could sit here with you for hours and talking this stuff.
Yeah, me too.
But let's not wait another 6 years, huh? All right.
All righty.
Jim Moran, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, pal. Good to see you, man.
Have a great one.
All the best. All right. So Jim Moran, that was a lot of fun. That was really cool. All right. Let me see. Let me just fix that. All right. We're going to let me see. Let me just get myself situated here, and then I'll read some comments and see what you guys got cooking. Give me a second here. Let me just fix this up here. All right. Whoops. Do that, and I'm going to do this. Okay. Okay. Oh, one thing I wanted to talk about. Let's see. Where's the graphic for it? So I wanted to congratulate Mike Keegan, a great comedian. He has his show here on Gov's Comedy Club podcast. Mike Keegan just released a comedy album called Sexy Potato. Thanks, Jim, man. Good seeing you. Yeah. Yep, there you go. And then to the right. Wow, that was awesome. That was a lot of fun. All right, so Mike Keegan put out an album this week, a comedy album. It's called Sexy Potato. It has hit number one on, I think is it Apple or is it Billboard? I forget, but it's hit number one in the comedy category. So the album just came out this week. So all the best to Mike Keegan and congratulations to him. I downloaded it this morning. I have not listened to it yet, but I bought it off iTunes this morning because, I'm still one of those. I haven't joined the 21st century yet. I'm one of those. I still download off iTunes and then just play it on my iTunes library. All you guys have Apple Music and you stream it. I can't stand that stuff. I'll probably even make my own CD of Sexy Potato. Mike Keegan is a sexy potato. Let me tell you. I've been calling him that for years. So congratulations to Mike, and very excited for him that the album is kicking ass. All right, so let's go back and read some comments. Sorry I wasn't really reading comments too much when Jim was here. I knew our time with him was limited, so I really didn't go crazy with reading the comments. I got to look up who Steve French is. Okay. John Rusciello left. His nurse showed up. Fremder, I'm currently looking for a bass player for my Blue Balls band. Carol Miner, the Rangers slapped the Yankees. How bad, Carol? I have issues with that, though, Carol. You're a New Yorker. You should be, I don't know, you should be rooting for the Yankees or the Mets. Fremder, one time I met a Yankee. I have fond memories of my grandfather and I going to Shea Stadium to watch the grass grow. Mickey says the Mets are 7.5 back. They're 7.5 back, Mickey, but they're only a half game back in the wild card. And Ann Rothney. Thank you, Jim. You're awesome. Very nice. Glad you guys enjoyed that. Yeah, Jim's a good man. Let's see. So what do we got here? Excuse me. I need water. I got hiccups all of a sudden. It's a big day here at Gov's Comedy Club Podcast. We have the premiere tonight at 6:30, Recipe for Laughter. Chef Felix returning. He's been off from Gov's for a few months. But not only is he coming back, but he's coming back in the studio. So tonight at 6:30, Chef Felix will be here in the studio, Recipe for Laughter, co-hosted with Bonnie Scalisi, another Gov's Comedy Club Podcast studio alumni who makes a return. If I'm not mistaken, their guests tonight are comedian Allison Persky and our pal Fat Jay. I do believe that's tonight. Their premiere episode is tonight, but I do believe it's tonight that they have their guests coming in. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play. What did I do with it? I can't find it. I had a video of Jim Moran. You know what? I guess I'll. Well, I was going to play it, but now I can't even find it. Oh, there it is. Should I, you guys want to? Yeah, you know what? Yeah, it's only 4 minutes. I'm gonna play a video of Jim Moran. You guys get a little more Jim Moran action here. Here we go.
somebody wrong.
The Jim Moran Band, ladies and gentlemen. That was great. I really enjoyed talking to him. That was a lot of fun. Let's see. Carol says that, she was a Met fan growing up. Well, then you should still be a Met fan. Damn those Texas Rangers. They won 2 out of 3. Second game ended with our rookie getting a grand slam. Very nice. Those Yankees are, they're, I don't know what's going on there. But if they don't rebound, I think they'll finally say goodbye to Boone. Recipe for laughter will be great, says Ann Rothney. Love Felix and Bonnie. Oh, very nice. Well, they'll be thrilled to hear that. So, glad you're excited about that. Recipe for laughter tonight at 6:30 here on Gov's Comedy Club podcast. We're glad you're excited about that. We have a lot of great stuff happening in this room. Working on some other things as well. So we're excited, and we hope you are too. Speaking of shows we're excited about, Knockem Dead Comedy has some murder mysteries coming your way. And we have a show in Belmore, the Brokerage in Belmore, on September 27th. It's a fun murder mystery show. Audience interactive comedic murder mysteries, where the audience gets to solve the crime. They get to see the crime right in front of them. And they get to solve it with our help. Knockem Dead Comedy presents a Hillbilly Hoedown, a Redneck Wedding. It's going to be a great time. Come on down. Go to govs.com. Make your reservations. We are really hoping to sell this place out. So, but it would help if people made reservations. So please do so. Go to govs.com. We're really we're hoping for that. All right. So what do we got? So I am going to read to you guys some things that have been floating around the internet. Basically, to just show you guys how stupid people are. Some stupid posts, ladies and gentlemen. Like this one, who is definitely trying this. I really want to find out if I'm related to my ancestors. And I love the response. I highly suspect you are indeed related to your ancestors. Yeah, that's a pretty good answer right there. This next one's pretty funny. Can anyone explain to me why the sun looks this way? I thought it was round and yellow. And my guess is that same person, if you look on the bottom of this picture, you see right next to the number 4 is a heart. I'm sure this person also thinks the heart actually looks like that inside the body. So if that person cut a body open, they would never find the heart because they see all this thing attached, with arteries attached to it. What's the next one? Oh, okay. Oh, let me fix this because I think you need to see the bottom. Yeah. When I was 2, my sister was twice my age. Now I'm 40. How old is my sister? And the response at the bottom is awesome. He was 2. She was 4. Now he's 40. She is 44. Simple math. Oh, God. Don't you wish that they had the names of these people? I mean, the names are there. They're blocking it out. But don't you wish that they would keep the names there? Sometimes people deserve to be called out. And that's one of them. All right, what's this one? Canadians think the Titanic was a real event and not just a movie. How dumb can you be? That response. I really hope you're kidding. You guys ever do something like that where you say something on social media and then you realize you're dead wrong? That must be very embarrassing. This one is pretty funny. Whoops, hang on. This one's funny. How hard is it to put decaf in a coffee? You imagine? You get the coffee and that would be a fun prank, right? I'm sorry, can you put some more decaf in that? Let me get a coffee with milk, sugar, and decaf. So I don't know. I thought these were pretty funny. Fremder says he'll buy all the tickets. All right. I'll hold you to that. All right, so that was that. once again, speaking of buying things, go to Amazon or iTunes, Apple Music, whatever, and go buy Sweet Potato by Mike Keegan. Tearing up the comedy charts. Fremder, the other day I spoke to my dad, and he told me, son, when I was your age, I was 43. Yeah, that's funny. All right. I think I didn't really have much else to talk about today. I have some other things, but I think I'm saving it for tomorrow when Andy's here. So, yeah, I think I actually just might end the show early for one. Well, you know what? By the time I get through all the other shows and stuff, it'll be 12:30. When was the last time I ended the show at 12:30? I don't think I have. Yesterday, we almost went, an extra half hour? Oh, and I did want to tell you, I mean, John Rusciello is gone, so that might be a good time to tell you. This Monday, I'm going to be playing an old show. I won't be here on Monday. We're actually filming. Actually, I'll be here, but I won't be on the air. We're filming another movie with Don Sill. So you guys remember 2 years ago we made the movie Comic Sans. People like Fremder were nice enough to come see it. And you can actually go to Vimeo now and find it. And you can also go on that show tonight. What's the name of that streaming service? TST? Is that what it's called? Michael Loftus streaming channel. Let's see if that comes up. No, of course it doesn't. Oh well. It's something like that. Well, you can go to you can go to Vimeo, I think, and find it there too. Comic Sans. We made that movie 2 years ago. Great reception. It really went over well. Had a great cast. Well, we're finally getting around to making. We haven't made. So Comic Sans was a half hour. We have not made another half hour short film. But what we're doing is we're making like even shorter films, like 10-minute films. We made one earlier this summer where we introduced some new characters to our Comic Sans world. But now on Monday, we're making another 10, 15-minute film featuring some of the Comic Sans characters that were in the original film, along with some new characters as well. But we're filming that on Monday here at Governor's, so I will not be coming on the air. I'll be playing an old show. Before I was here at Governor's, I used to go live on Facebook on Tuesday nights just from my house. I called it Tuesday Night with Tony. And some of the shows are good. We had some really interesting guests. And the show that I'm going to play on Monday, because 9/11 is next week, we're going to have it's an old episode I did with a fireman named Bobby Sen. Just like Jim Moran, Bobby Sen has been in here a few times, but it's been a while. I'm definitely overdue to get him back in here. But he's a great guy. He doesn't like to be remembered as, New York City fireman, but on 9/11, you can't help it. The man is a hero. He was in both towers when they collapsed, and he survived them both. I figure with 9/11 next week, I figure I'll show that on Monday. We'll be here the rest of the week. 9/11 is a tough one. So, and I'm assuming Mike Kaplan will be here. And I'm sure that's what we'll be focusing on that day. But, let's see. Kate Winslet was hot in the Titanic. Yeah, she certainly was. How exciting, Tony. Best wishes, says Ann. Oh, thanks. What are we talking about? Fremder, yesterday was a funny show talking about a penis on the Knockem Dead podcast. Don, I thought you'd never ask. Of course I'll be in your next movie. It's a long list, man. A lot of people are looking to get into this. I think we'll get you eventually. Don't worry. We have a bunch of them planned, so don't worry about that. So that's Monday, so I won't be here. But in the meantime, got a lot of great stuff. Today is Thursday. Chef Felix tonight, 6:30. Circling the Drain at 7. Tonight, and then tomorrow morning at 11. Tomorrow morning at 9. Coffee with the Dog. 11 o'clock is me and Andy. Tomorrow night at 8. Donversations. John LaRocchia, great comedian. He's Don's guest this week. Yeah, so a lot of great stuff happening. And, of course, on a governor's stage this weekend, we got a lot of great stuff happening. The Day Players Band, Maurice Bernard, Michael Plaskak, John Butera, Sean Kearns, Francesco Caputo and Bobby Bannon, Josh Potter, and the Uncle Louie Variety Show. So there's a lot of stuff going on in all three Governors Comedy Clubs this weekend. So make sure you go to govs.com and make your reservations. And, of course, make your reservations for Knockem Dead Comedy September 27th at the Brokerage. September 28th, Knockem Dead Comedy Game Show in the Giggle Room. Oh, and, of course, don't forget September 14th, Jeff Bosey and Friends in the Giggle Room with featuring Mike Keegan, Carla Okerson, Rosie Fiumara, Jonathan Barrios, Ivory Fields, and headliner is Ray Goots. That's actually a great show, so don't miss that. October 5th, Gov's Comedy Club Podcast presents The Down and Outs. Claudia Sherman and Gretchen Comer featuring Nancy Parker, and I'll be hosting that one. Gov's Comedy Club Podcast presents... that's the old one. That's the old flyer. Sorry. Well, Clash of the Boroughs, Staten Island and Astoria, Mike Picchetti and Friends, with Johnny McDonald, Courtney Otera, Andrew Farella, and Sean Kearns. And headliner is New York funny man Greg Criticos. Sorry, that's the old flyer. I don't know how that happened. And then, of course, in December, Knockem Dead Comedy returns doing our fun murder mysteries in McGuire's in Bohemia. So lots of great stuff going on. Go to govs.com. Make your reservations to all these great comedy shows. And, lots of good stuff. All right, so we're going to call it a day here. Let me just check out the comments. There are no more. I read them all. All right. Everybody then enjoy the rest of your Thursday. We'll see you tonight with Felix. It's a nice day out there. Hope you can enjoy it. And, otherwise we'll see you tomorrow with... If I ever had a role in the movie, I would use method acting. I can play the role of someone that no one wants to hear. Sorry, what'd you say? I wasn't listening. Everybody enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and we'll see you guys later. Have a great day. Thanks, guys, for hanging out with us today. See ya.